Hi, Joe Scotchafurro, and welcome to another On Location. Okay, my next guest has an amazing career, and he's not done yet. He began touring the East Coast with Club Band at 16 years old. That band eventually went into the recording studio as a polygram artist. That led to him picking up chops as a recording engineer. Then on to school at Berklee College. And after Berklee, he headed out to the West Coast in LA, where he found work as a player, an engineer, an arranger. By the way, knew nobody, just dropped in. And then that led to gigs as a columnist for several music trades and magazines. And now he shares all that collective wisdom and experiences with millions on his site, appropriately named BobOwsinski.com. Welcome, Bob.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Hope I got most of that correct.
It's BobbyOwsinski.com.
Oh, Bobby Owsinski. Well, you know what's good is underneath it'll actually say BobbyOwsinski.com.
Okay, good.
The wonders of post-production.
Yeah.
So I want to just jump right in because there's so much I want to talk to you about. But I want to begin with everything cool out in LA. Things are good. You're wonderful.
Yeah, well, it's warm here right now, so so I'm happy. But that won't last for long because we have a cold streak coming up.
Yeah, your cold streaks are not necessary.
It's not the same. I understand completely.
Yeah, I mean, you grew up out here on the East Coast, so you know what winters are like.
I just came back from Iceland. I just came back from Iceland too. So Iceland was really cold because we were up near the Arctic Circle.
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole other conversation. I would love to hear about Iceland. That's so cool. Yeah. So let's try to jump in, unpack some of this. What do you think got you to be able to do so many different things and succeed at so many different things? What is that about you that allowed you that to happen?
ADD. Honestly, it's getting bored and looking for something else that's less boring.
So you just chase the
to be
challenge?
Honest with you. Yeah, for the most part. Or, just getting an idea as well. Let's try this and see what happens. But that's it. Just, it's easy for me to get bored with something.
Yeah, so. You know what, though? I have to call you on that because a lot of people get bored with a lot of things. That doesn't mean they can go and succeed at other things and keep jumping about. You have a pretty huge success record.
Yes, but I stand on the shoulders of giants, as they would say. I live in near Hollywood, so I managed to meet the right people, just as you did in the New York City area. And as a result, I was taught by some of the best, and I learned from some of the best, and I was referred by some of the best to some of the best. And, all the way through, I mean, even when it comes to tech, I was lucky enough to join a tech breakfast in about 2001, 2002, where there were C-level people from Google, from Facebook, and it was just starting, from Blogger, and I learned all of that social media thing, blogging, all that stuff from the ground up, from the people that were doing it. But that was, just by someone that I had known in the business saying, hey, you ought to come to this on Saturday. So again, it's not me. I just know lots of really smart people.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna give you the humble moment, and then I'm gonna call you on it again. Yeah, it's great to be around smart people, and it's great to have great people teach you things, but you have to have the ability to learn, and you have to have that drive and that passion. So you got to be a smart guy to do that. Tech breakfast. That sounds like an LA thing. That sounds like a West Coast thing.
Yeah, it
What
really was.
what was that? That sounds fascinating.
It was called Metal. METAL. I forget what it's Alpha Leaders, blah blah blah. I don't remember exactly what it stands for, but it was people from the entertainment business primarily, but it was attorneys, some very high powered ones. It was tech people. It was some musicians, some composers, film composers. It was a wide variety of people, record label people, and and all of them were interested in tech or on the cutting edge of tech in some way. So this went on for a lot of years, 10, 12 years,
Wow.
every Saturday. And speakers would come in. There'd be fantastic speakers that you'd learn from and hear from. So it was really a highlight of my week for many, many years.
That's incredible. I'm so jealous. That would have been something I would have loved to do. But
Yeah.
because that brings us, I mean, one of the big facets of Faro City, and it's our careers, we've all learned it, is community, is being with those people. And not just the people you think you need to be with. But there's a whole other level, which is what this breakfast, what you just said at that group gathering, lawyers, techs, musicians, artists. Talk a little bit about how that actually helped create who you are, like that influence of all those different people. Why is that important?
Well, for one thing, some of my best friends to this day came out of that. As a matter of fact, somebody that I have lunch with twice a week, who's kind of a business advisor as well. You know, one of my best friends and came out of that. Another friend who's a CEO for an NFT company now, but before he ran Marriott, the loyalty program for Marriott. Another very, very good friend. And of course, you learn from people like that, especially when they're in a high C-level, C-level meaning CEO, CMO, whatever.
Yeah.
And certainly I just learned a lot because, I'm not in their level, but after a while you learn to speak their language and you learn to understand what they're talking about, and you see, well, how can I apply that to what I do every day? And it does work.
That last part of that sentence is one of those keys. How can I apply that to what I do? Not become them. How do I apply that? Take pieces and integrate that into what you're doing. Wow. So again, I have so many things I want to ask you, and I'm trying to keep a coherent storyline here, which is going to be difficult with you.
Can I add just something to cap that off? Since then, I do a lot online. I have an online business. I was writing a lot of books, and then it got to the point where if I write another book, I can't make that much money, so let's take this online. And then I started to learn about digital marketing. Now, to cap it all off, I have a number of coaches and I'm in a number of masterminds that are sort of like that tech breakfast, only on a much higher level today. And again, learning a lot from some of the best on how to do these things. So it's never ending learning, but it's also lots of fun.
And that's important. And for those who haven't had the opportunity to check your site out, it's amazing. And your accomplishments and all that you offer. And one of the things that I'm learning is that digital presentation. You do a brilliant job of it, a brilliant job. Your writing, obviously, but all of just the way the site works. It's fascinating, and the content is ridiculous. I mean, your content is obviously the best. So I'm not, and this wasn't me plugging Bob. That was not what this was supposed to be. But I can't help but when I see something that's good, I will talk about it, and I found it.
Thank you. I'm smirking here because I'm happy that you find it and other people do find it to their liking, because I look at it and I go, oh, I got to change that. Oh, geez, it should be more like, So I'm super critical of it. So whenever I hear someone compliment, it's like, well, I guess it does work.
No, it does. It absolutely does. But it's like it's like songwriting. It's like just print writing. We all do that on a regular basis. It's
Yeah.
always can be better. And we always think, oh, I should have just. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about you still are, a musician. We never really walk away from that. But the traits that exist in writing music or in playing as a performer and in engineering, do those things have a correlation? Do you see some sort of thread that goes through all of that?
Well, I found a creative pathway for me that works across any creative endeavor. I found this as a writer, and what I call it is the 3-pass method. 3 passes meaning the very first time you're trying to create something, you sit down and you don't get critical. You just do a mind dump, and like for instance, if you're writing, you don't think about punctuation, you don't think about paragraphs or any of that stuff. You just get it down on paper. And it's the same thing with writing music. It was like, no, I'm just going to get all my ideas down. And then the second pass, the second time you go through it, then you get a little more critical. And it's like, okay, now this is a verse, this is a chorus, this will work better here, maybe this is a bridge. And then the third pass is when you really, really drill down and get critical, and then start to dot the I's and put the periods in the right place and commas, and you if you're writing a song, you're arranging a song, you're adding ear candy and things like that. So a fourth pass sometimes can work, but anything beyond that, you're making it different. You're not making it better. And that's what I found out, that I can keep on going down this rabbit hole, but it's just different. It's not better. So then I learned at that point, okay, I'm pretty much done here.
That's important to know when it's done or when it's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I love that. I love the points that you hit at. I similarly write that way. I am nowhere near as good a musician or as a writer as you, a music writer as you are, but I do my writing that with that same kind of thing. Do you collaborate with anybody on things? Do you find that easier or harder? Is it something you look for?
I have in the past. Well, obviously in music you do it more than you do in other things. I've written a few books with other writers, and there were a couple that felt good, and there were a few that didn't, in that I did the bulk of the work and only got half the credit. So you look, and after a while it's like, I don't know if I want to do that anymore.
Right.
But in music it's a little different. You especially today, it's all about collaboration, and almost anybody that's in the room is going to get a writing credit. So, that's way different there. That's really true. If you're in the room while something's being created, and it's kind of like, let's make sure there's no litigation here. Let's give everybody a little piece, and then we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I'm in the television world, and it was born on that level.
Yeah.
That everybody has to get a piece, and the less you contribute for some reason, the bigger your piece. Haven't quite figured out how that works, but yeah. I mean, it is prevalent, and it's in every sector of broadcast. So which of your many talents would you say you're the most passionate about?
What day is it? No, honestly, I mean, it does change by the day. I do like writing, I have to say. And if I'm not writing another books or something like that, I do feel like there's something missing. I write a blog every day. I usually have a book in the works at the same time in the background. So, I'm doing that all the time. Even when I'm on vacation, I'm doing it. And that, to me, I guess I'm most passionate about it because I miss it more when I don't do it. And with music, I can walk away and not think about it for a long time and not play or whatever. And now to me, it's almost gotten, I hate to say it, somewhat like a business where if I need, for instance, if I need a cue, it's like, okay, I can do this faster. So, let's get the guitar and the bass down and everything and let's do it. But other than that, I don't normally play. I must say, though, 3 or 4 years ago, I was producing a band and we were in pre-production and their bass player quit, was fired, whatever. And I said, okay, until you find somebody else, I'm going to start it. I will play because I know the parts. And I felt myself going down the rabbit hole again. It's like, oh, how much does an SVT cost? One of those things. So it doesn't take much to pull you back into that world,
Yeah.
If I did a live gig, I'd be done. I'd probably be buying gear left and right again.
Well, speaking of gear, that's another one of your, I don't even know what to call them anymore. Passions, habits, interests, technology. That's another thing you fell into very early on. Talk a little bit about how that wove into your, at that time, music career.
Well, like so many other people that get into tech, and I was always the guy in the band that took care of the PA or even owned the PA and, soldering my own cables early on and, all those things that you do. And then I went to college. I went to school for electrical engineering. I didn't much care about anything except I wanted to know where the electrons went from my guitar into the amplifier. I wanted to know how all that happened. I could care less about everything else. That was the big thing. And that still, it carried on, into the rest of my life of always being at least a little bit on the tech side. I'm more on the tech side than most people, I have to say, but not deep down the rabbit hole like you are. I mean, you'll get in with the synthesizer and I know you can fix it from scratch, whatever it is. And for me, I have to scratch my head and go, I'll call Joe.
Well, thank you. But I have to also say, I think that has passed me by. There's technology now because I listen to a lot of people, especially because it's all the IP stuff. I'm like, I understand the words, but I don't think I have any value to contribute to that. But you and I both did the same thing. I became technical out of necessity. I didn't really have the money to go get my gear fixed or to go do something. Or like you said, I had the PA and I knew how to plug mics in. I don't know if that was a smart move on my band's part, if I got set up with that or what the real world was, but I enjoy it. And there is something that came from that world, which follows me through in everything, is troubleshooting, because that signal path mentality, that there's a start and then it has to end up here. I use it in business. I use it in relationships. I use it in everything because there's got to be a start and it's got to get to here. And that's how I figure out what went right or what went wrong. So right? There's an appropriateness to that, I believe.
Yeah. I must admit, I did get into the, HTML coding and everything, and I can still do that. And sometimes I have to troubleshoot something. It's faster for me to do it than getting, some of my tech people where, it's like, okay, why isn't this working? Let's look at the HTML and I can go in and figure it out, which is a level beyond a lot of people. If I have to go fix something on the back end of my site in a shopping cart or something, I can go in and do it. I don't like to, but I can.
Right.
Right. And it does serve me because you know what it's like. You need it done. You want it done right now, and it's like, oh, I'll just do it. It's faster.
Yeah, that's a trap.
It is. Yeah. Right.
It's an absolute trap because that's I'm that way still. In everything I do, whether it's still music, still television, anything. Before we came on the air, I mean, this is my small little layback studio where I do a lot of development for soundtracks and things like that. But I had a problem. I had a problem just getting stuff. It's such a basic thing, but I could have called somebody and said, hey, the camera's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Can you walk me through it? And I was like, no, I'll figure this out. I know, I'm smart. And I was scrambling around. And then halfway through it, I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
So
it's a blessing and a curse.
Yes, it is. When you moved into engineering, do you think that was more the musical side of you, or do you think that was the technical, or was it all of a sudden you found a blend for both?
Well, anybody that gets into engineering is attracted by the studio, is attracted by the feel, you look at a console and you go, wow, that's cool. And some people are, extremely intimidated, and some of us go, I want to learn everything about this. This is so cool. So there was a lot of that. And I must admit, though, I've always approached it not from an engineering standpoint as much as a production standpoint. And production meaning, okay, why would you do this particular musical thing? And this is what I got to do to make sure I capture it. But in the meantime, what's going on the floor? Why is that part being played? Why is it not being played? Why is it, out of tune? Why is it, behind the beat? All that. So that was always there. And I think the engineering part was, let's help facilitate that. It was a sidetrack.
Yeah, and you just described something that gets past a lot of people, especially in today's world, that everything becomes, I'm the producer, I'm the music director, I'm the engineer, I'm the studio tech, and everybody does that, when what you're describing, and it was the earlier days when we all did a lot of that. So if you're sitting behind a console, as you just described, you're also producing. And you're listening and hearing, not just sonically, you're listening musically to things and having a sense of that. That's an art I think is diminished in today's world. I don't want to sound old, but I think it is.
Most great engineers that I know, the A-listers, they're very good producers, but they don't like to do it so much. And they're very good producers in that they know music very well, and they know what works and what doesn't. They prefer not to get involved in the dynamics of being a producer, meaning the politics, meaning the personalities and stuff like that. So they stay in their own little world, but they know just as much as any producer for the most part. When you're a mixer, especially a good one, you have to know arrangement, because you're rearranging on the fly a lot of times. So, you're deciding, okay, there's 30 tracks here. Maybe I only need 2. Let's mute the rest, or let's bring them in over here instead of here. So, there's a lot of that when it comes to mixing. And, again, you're wearing both hats, even though you may not be getting credit for both.
Yeah, and I'm going to promote your site again. Go check out all of what Bob. I'm just scratching the surface here. There is so much information and depth of knowledge in his smiling West Coast face. But go check out his site. It's huge. It's huge. It's huge. I'm not wrapping up. I just want to make sure I keep punctuating that. And let's shift you over to the business side now, because you're a brilliant business person, and I understand you said you stand on the shoulders of, but you still execute brilliantly. You were way ahead of the curve when it came to self-publishing and building your own digital site and selling your own products. You dropped the name on me that my marketing guy, when I told him, he was like, oh my God, yes, Jeff Walker's. And you said that he played a big part, or his materials played a big part in what you've accomplished.
I just came back from a 3-day conference. With Jeff Walker. So yeah. Okay. So what happened was, I was engineering and then I got into writing, and I was writing magazine articles at first, and all of a sudden there was a dozen magazines I was writing for. They're all entertainment, music, in some case sound and video. I wrote a lot for on the audio side. Billboard, Grammy Magazine, EQ, recording engineer, producer, on and on. But I was engineering, and I was a really good engineer, but I was not a good mixer. And I thought, oh, I know all these great guys. I know the best in the world. Let me write a book about this. So I started to talk to people, and they said, you can't write a book about mixing. It's too subjective. I thought, well, okay, let me try. Because if I want to learn this, I bet there's a lot of other people. So I interviewed, 25 of the best mixers in different genres. And it became a book. And I wrote the book before, usually what you do, you write a couple chapters and you send it out to a publisher and they say yes or no. But I wrote the whole book first, and then I sent it to 5 publishers, and they all wanted it. I took the one that was the most aggressive, and still my publishing champion today. So first book comes out. When everybody writes a book, the same thing happens. You write a book and you go, well, never going to do that again. Because a lot of brain cells die in the process. So first book, though, was a hit. So, yeah, wrote the second one, Recording Engineer's Handbook. Well, it's the third one, Mastering Engineer's Handbook. And all of a sudden, it turns into a new career. I'm writing all the time. But it got to a point where it was like, if I write another book, I'm not going to make that much more money. I kind of hit a ceiling with all this. So what can I do? Well, maybe I can take this online. And I happened to find a guru at the time, Steve Harrison, who helped authors specifically go online and make courses. It was a really expensive course with them, at least for the time. And I thought, at least if I can make my money back, I'm going to be happy. And first time out, I did more than that. So that got me into writing, doing online stuff. About the same time, I'm on a group podcast that's been going on for 14 years called Audio Nowcast, and we get guests in, a bunch of audio geeks, roundtable basically. And one of the guests was from lynda.com, which is now LinkedIn Learning.
Right.
And he said to me, maybe you should come do some stuff for us. I said, okay. And he made me audition twice, which was like, oh, wait a second. Look at YouTube. I got 1 million views on this and whatever. And no, you got to do it. So I auditioned and made the cut, and then did a bunch of courses with them, which I learned how to really do it well. I learned good production values, and especially taking something that's written and moving it over into course content. So that was the second thing that happened. The third thing that happened was, all of a sudden, one day, my books are being used in colleges all over the world, and all of a sudden, one day, my college teachers are hitting me up saying, we can't get your book anymore. What happened? I don't know. I call up the publisher, and publisher says, we don't want to do this anymore. We don't want to do your sector anymore. So can I get the books back? Yeah, no problem. So, but in the meantime, there's a new college year starting, and I have to get books to these people. So I hurried up and I got a new edition out, and then a second book, third book, fourth book, and all, and got those out self-published. So then I was forced to learn the self-publishing world. Now, I could pull this off because I had previous success as with a publisher. So it was much easier for me to do it than someone just starting out. I had a big advantage. In the meantime, I had learned a bunch from lynda.com. Now I no longer have to go to their studios to record these things. I can record them at home, and I began to think, well, maybe I should start to just do my own. So I started to do my own courses, and that's when I had to get more into digital marketing, because it's like, well, I have to figure out how to get people to actually see these things. So then that took me into yet another career, let's say, is in digital marketing, just learning all that stuff and learning the genre and looking for people to help me in masterminds and coaches and whatever, which now I've been lucky enough to find and I feel comfortable with. But, it's been one evolution after another, out of necessity. I mean, there's no grand plan. It just happens.
Yeah, it doesn't just happen. It might not be a grand plan, but you're brilliant enough to be ahead of where you are. And that in itself is a grand plan. You see the future, you see your position, and then you look towards the future and say, how, why, for whatever motivates you, and financially, workload, timing. I do have a question about what you just said, because there was so much information there. And there's a lot of it I had no idea. So that in itself is pretty fascinating. And I'd like to make a left turn at some point and talk about learning how to navigate the social media waters and all of that. But my point, the thing I really want to talk about is it takes two different kinds of brains to be creative and to be in that world, and then to be in the execution world. And crossing that over, I know, is stressful. And I really have to spend time partitioning my day or my week or whatever, or my project. Okay, I have to stay creative and don't talk to me about anything over here. Do you find that to be a similar situation?
Yeah, it's hard to get yourself, well, for me, it's hard to get started on the other side. If I'm being creative, I want to stay there, and I don't necessarily want to go to the other side of the business side. Once I get there, I'm okay, and I can stay there. And then sometimes it gets hard to go back. So that's the hard part. It's like, okay, I'm siloed here. I'm pretty happy doing this. I can keep going on this. But, I know now I have to cross back over for whatever reason. So it's the hard part of just getting back into the other side, I think. But once I'm there, I'm okay. How about you?
Yeah, no, it's I have to. I don't have a choice. So, I mean, if I said, I'm like you, I get bored. If I had to stay on the creative side for the rest of my career, I wouldn't do it. I have to be challenged by the other side. So, but do you have community, or do you have individuals that are your go-to when you're trying to think, or you pull from other people? Is that something, that network that you mentioned earlier on, do you still rely on a network, if not that network?
I rely more on coaches these days.
Explain.
From the Jeff Walker team, something called Launch Club. Launch Club is if you haven't launched, meaning I have a online course. I have something I'm going to sell online, and that's a launch. And there's a method in how to do it, and you follow the method, and you should be successful. And as you get more successful, you kind of move up to different tiers. And what ends up happening is you get different coaches there's smaller tiers as you get higher, so you get more individual help. So I have a pretty good group of coaches that I can reach out to if there's something I really need to know, or I'm brainstorming something. I have, a cadre of people that I hang with that I can reach out to for certain things. Other things I have no clue, but certain things for sure. A couple of masterminds that I'm in, mastermind groups. So they're the access is a little less to them because we meet once a month. And so in the meantime, I have to save it all up for that one time. But there's enough people that I don't feel like I'm stranded out in the cold trying to figure this out myself. Like at some points in this career that I felt like, it's like, oh, what am I going to do? And I don't know I don't know who to talk to about this, but no, I'm a pretty good group.
Yeah, no, that's a truth. And finding that, I mean, that's great that you went out of your way or go out of your way or make it part of your business to belong to different groups, to participate in that, to keep that network and that community close so that you can, when you need it, because all of us have struggled by ourselves early on and, floundering our way through, which is, again, I keep coming back to Faro City, which was, this is the culmination of the pain and success of my career. And I wanted to kind of eliminate some of the pain for other people because, having known you for, several years, lots of decades almost, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And, some of our mutual friends and just people in general in the industry, it took a long time to sort out who knows what they're doing, who doesn't know what they're doing, who knows what they're doing in this area, but not in this area. And that years go by before you can actually sort that out. And then the world changes, marketing changed, the industry changed. When we started out, the internet was a nothing. It really wasn't a force to be reckoned with. Now it's the only thing. If you can't navigate it and work within it, you really can't survive doing much of anything.
Yeah, and it's changing rapidly as is. It's funny. I'm starting to read articles about the end of the internet, and the end meaning that we're in a transitory period that not many people understand. We're getting immune to the things that we used to love about being online, and the way they're tracking this is the fact that the engagement rate for all platforms is going down. All of them, even TikTok, which is the big dog right now, they're going down. So people are getting immune to things that, clickbait, for instance. Oh, that's a good headline. Yeah, let's find that. And now it's like, And I think it's a good thing from the standpoint that we got away from person-to-person social interaction. And hopefully we're getting a little more back into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It bothers me. I'm sure you see this as well. You go out to dinner and there are people on their phones, they're eating on their phones, and the other people at the table, they're ignoring. And I told myself a long time ago, I will not answer my phone while I'm eating. That's a sacrosanct time for me. I don't care who is calling. I turn it off. Eating time, my dinner
That's
time
great.
is my time.
Yeah.
So and I want to be there if I'm out with dinner with people. I want to be there 100% with them.
That's brilliant, and that's so well said. I just finished writing a piece about that, coming into the industry and being in the industry, because I have so many younger people working with us. And when we're doing the show, you're on the air, everybody's busy, everybody's focused on what they do. But when we break, or even if it's on a concert, the best time to network, the best time to get to know somebody is on that downtime. Is sitting on a road case in a wing or backstage or in a television studio, hanging out in a caf. If you immediately get off and go on your phone, which is what a lot of them do, they miss that moment.
Yeah.
There's a teaching moment, there's a networking moment, there's a career growth moment, and they've missed it. I've learned everything sitting on road cases. It's always been the best place for me. Even just war story. I hate using military terms, but you know what I mean? The stories that we all have of failures and successes, but they're cool stories because they're behind the scenes and they're things people don't know about or can't get to. But if you're not present for that, this isn't doing you any good.
Yeah. It's just, stories are useful. You may not think about it, but they are. And one of the things in digital marketing is stories sell. Because when you tell somebody a story, you bring them in. It doesn't have to be your story. It can be somebody else's story, which you got on that road case, sitting on that road case. Mm-hmm. And just telling somebody an interesting story that may apply to something else, to another point that you're trying to get to, is very valuable and very effective. So by not getting that piece, you're missing something that you might be able to use down the line, especially.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to have to wrap it here. Bob, I could have 5 more of these series with you. And if I'm out in LA, I promise to put my phone away and you and I will go out to dinner.
Yeah.
Because I agree with everything you're saying. God, thank you so much for taking the time. You're brilliant, and I thank you for sharing, not just today with us, but all the stuff that you contribute back into the industry and help build. Bravo, thank you so much from all of the ones coming up.
And
all right, my friend, you got it. I will talk to you soon, and let's stay in touch.
Okay.
Bye.